G'day guys, welcome back to the Play on Footy YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing the round 10 roundup. What a round. I can't obviously start this without mentioning the word H, and you're probably guessing right who I'm trying to refer to. It is Harley Reid. We're going to start backwards from the last game of the round, which was the Eagles versus Melbourne. Eagles 105 to Melbourne's 70. Waterman kicked 5 goals, so Waterman got 126 AFL fantasy, Darling kicked 3 goals, 111 AFL fantasy, and Duggan 110 AFL fantasy. And for Melbourne, it was Jack Viney 98 AFL fantasy, Oliver 94, and Salem 93. What I really liked was the Harley Reid mania around the Optus Stadium, especially that in Burswood in Perth, Western Australia. His fend-offs to Oliver and Petrarca were just fantastic. His goal from the centre bounce, and then obviously he ran to the 50 and kicked it. Tremendous. And then his body work off, I think it was Howes, the Melbourne defender, and then to kick his second was fantastic as well. So you've got to give it to Harley Reid. He is probably one of the best first-year players. Yes, we've got Nick Dacos a couple of years back, but I think Harley Reid, he can, he's like a Toby Green / Dustin Martin / Ben Cut. Like, he's like everything together. He's a fantastic player, and he's only just getting started, so no pressure, Harley. The next one is Waterman kicking 5 goals. I thought he is just leaps and bounds, improving, especially from last year, and obviously having Oscar Allen out, amazing to have him back. So good on Waterman. And the next one is Darling, kicked 3. I thought it was really instrumental, used his body, got to the contest, brought the ball to ground inside the forward 50, instrumental in that. What I disliked was Cripps. His inaccuracy in front of goal this year has been pretty concerning. Kicked 1 goal, 3 behinds in this game. Melbourne, their pressure momentum was really lacking in this game. It obviously worked into the Eagles' favour, especially into their young team that they've got. But yeah, just definitely noticeable. I don't know if that's a structural thing, especially with Lever coming out with an injury with a concussion in the first quarter with the head knock to Jack Darling. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it structurally, but there was just something missing there. I know they tried to put, I think it was Tom McDonald forward at some stage, because he's a bit of a swing man, works backwards and forwards as well as Petty. But yeah, just something that I noticed. But great game by the Eagles. Definitely didn't tip them, but it's good to have a team in the bottom 4 essentially trying to challenge the top 4 or 6. So that's really good to see, and I'm really happy for the Eagles. The next game was Port versus Hawks. That was an absolute nail biter of a game. Excuse my language. Yeah, nail biter of a game. 80 to 79, and Dusty Burn-Jones, he was the 100th game player for this game, and he did really well on his own occasion. I mean, he socketed it through in the last, what was it, maybe like 10 seconds of the match. So good on him. For Port, it was Houston, 136 AFL fantasy, Butters 112, and JHF 112 as well. Obviously no Rosie. And for Hawks, it was Hardwick, Blake Hardwick. He plays forward and back, so he really got up some touches. Will Day and Lloyd Meek 108. So yeah, pretty good to see those boys up and about for the Hawks, and they really did challenge Port. What I liked about the game was that the Hawks just had immense pressure from the get-go. It looked like Port were asleep at the wheel, and then coming to sort of the third quarter, Port sort of tried to work their way back, and then obviously in the last quarter, I think kicked 6 in a row or something, just to try and obviously win the game, which they did. What else did I like? I liked Hardwick kick 5 goals. Darcy Burn-Jones soccer goal in his 100th game. That's what I really liked as well. What I disliked was Hawks lost an 11-point lead with 33 seconds to go. I mean, how does that even happen? And Port's poor start, I didn't obviously like that, especially when they came off the back of the game against the Cats GMHBA the week before. They were such a fast starting team, and to not see that against the Hawks just shows the inconsistency with Port at the moment. I didn't understand Vicentini in the ruck for Port instead of Jordan Sweet. He must still be pretty sick with his sickness from the week before. And I understand, or I don't understand, I should say, Georgiades. He got 12 touches. Sorry, not 12 touches. He got 6 touches. He scored 12 in AFL fantasy, so I don't know what's going to happen with him. Maybe he gets dropped this week. We'll see. The next game was Bombers versus North, 106 to 66. Bombers, 2 metre Peter, 115 AFL fantasy. Caldwell, 105. Archie Perkins 100. And for North, it was Zach Fisher 121. Sheasel, even with his role change speculation, scored really well, 119. And then you've also got LDU 113 AFL Fantasy. What I liked was 2-meter Peter kicked 4 goals too. Unbelievable. What I would also like to say, Wright and Guelphy. Guelphy kicked 3 goals 3. I think they're 2 forwards, if you're looking at your AFL Fantasy, I'd be watching them pretty closely. I think Bombers' run is pretty good to the end of this season, so I'd be watching those 2 forwards pretty closely. LDU kicked 2 goals and 27 disposals. Definitely one of the better games he's played this year. And yeah, just unfortunate Kangas just can't string 4 quarters together. It's a consistent theme since for 5 years, but you know, it's just really, yeah, it's you're seeing signs in Port's game. Sorry, not Port's game, Kangaroos game plan. But yeah, it's just sad that they can't string the consistency across 4 quarters yet. What I disliked was that basically, and the Bombers basically were asleep at the wheel until the 3rd quarter. So 3rd quarter start, and they got into a bit of a mojo. I think they kicked about 6 or 7 goals on North, so then they built that lead up a little bit. And Kangas they need more spread from the centre bounce. They need a little bit more run, potentially, whether that comes from Sheasel, which it generally does come. But to see LDU sort of lift in this game, hopefully that's promising signs of what's to come, because obviously they don't have McKercher for that foot injury that happened. So that's the only thing. But they just need a little bit more run, I think. Next game was Pies and Crows. This was another nail biter, just like the Hawks and Port game. For Pies, it was Johnny Noble, 120 AFL Fantasy, Crisp 118, and Dacos 118. For Crows, it was Crouch 119, Dawson 117, and Mitch Hinge, the defender for Adelaide, 104. Yes, Pies 78 to Crows 74. So yeah, very close. What I liked was Rankin's dash. I liked De Goey's magic. He kicked a really nice goal in this game. And Dacos's 41 touches. Yes, there's a lot of Harley Reid mania, but Dacos is just racking those touches up. And yeah, he might be challenging Heaney for the Brownlow this year. I mean, he was pretty close last year, so I wouldn't be surprised. What I disliked was Rankin ran too far. It would have been great if he, kicked it, got in, kept the play going, but who knows? I mean, Adelaide have been so close to so many games this year. I mean, they got the job done on Carlton, but couldn't get the job done on Pies. They couldn't get the job done on Essendon. There was another team as well. They couldn't get the job done. But yeah, just Crom can't close games, and that's what you need to build momentum into a season. And yes, they really did start on the back foot this year, but they really need to start winning some games. Otherwise, the season's definitely going to be well and truly slipping away from them. Next game was Giants and Bullies. Giants 43 to Bullies 70. This one's at the Giants' home ground. Himmelberg 125 AFL Fantasy, Haynes 115, and Whitfield 100. And for Bullies, it was Richards 97, Treloar 94, and Norton 88. What I liked about this game was Treloar's 35 touches, Himmelberg's 30 touches, and as well as Hogan's 3 goals. He is now leading the Coleman with Waterman and a couple other guys I can't think of the top of my head right now. What I disliked about this game was the ball movement. It was too predictable, especially for GWS. Their ball movement was just too predictable. Going inside 50, they couldn't lock it down in their forward 50, and the ball would just come catapulting out by Bulldogs defenders. So kudos to the Bulldogs, but it was just a really annoying theme of the game watching it. And I know their coach Adam Kingsley would be absolutely spewing chips, so that was one thing that I disliked about the game. The next game was St Kilda versus Fremantle. St Kilda 55 to Fremantle 72. Ross Lyon against his old sort of team. We've got Marshall, who just racked up the AFL Fantasy 171. He's basically a midfielder ruck. I don't know why he's not got that as a DPP, but anyway, Sinclair 118, and you've also got Wanganeen Malira 110, and for Fremantle it was Clark 141, Ryan 126, and it was Jackson 116 stepping in for Darcy. I just don't know how Darcy, that ruck combination will come, whether Darcy comes back in this week to face the Pies. I just don't know how it's going to work, because Jackson honestly looks pretty good in that role, just like Marshall is basically rucking by himself at the Saints. So what I liked about this game was Freo's run off half back, and also from Hayden Young. I really like that. Marshall's 31 disposals and 1 behind and 39 hit outs. remarkable, fantastic. And Amira winding back the clock a little bit to basically his prime, 2 goals, 1. Was pretty involved throughout the game, I thought, for Freo. So yeah, he's been a good find for them. Bit of more maturity, a bit more level-headed in the team as well. What I disliked was Webster's hit on Frederick. Yeah, he was going for the ball, eyes on the footy, but it'd be interesting to see what happens at the tribunal on that one. Haven't really been watching or keeping tabs on it, but yeah, I know a lot of people were just thinking, good old Webster, but I don't think it was anything malicious, so I don't know how that one will play out. Max King not really hitting the scoreboard, 0.1. 0 goals, 1 behind, and yeah, just unlike his brother, just can't really find the footy. I don't know if it's like out of form sort of thing or just low on confidence, but yeah, something's going on there. And Voss, the new recruit for Dockers, 1 goal, 3. Would have been good if he could bag all of those, but yeah, he's going to be a promising, good player. Obviously, he had a run in the Giants Academy, so seeing what will happen in his future for Fremantle, but at the moment, looks pretty good. Next game was Lions versus the Tigers. This one was an absolute snooze fest at the Gabba. No disrespect to the Tigers, but they are basically the new Eagles. So I'll get into the AFL fantasy. Zorko 148, Neil 122, and Danaher 114. And for the Tigers, it was Nank Tank 90, AFL Fantasy, Bolton 87, and Rioli 84. What I liked about the game was Lions' accuracy. They only kicked 7 behinds, but most of the goals scored were pretty much within a couple of 20, 30 metres from goal. You got Kai Lohman, 5 goals, 1, Rayner 3 goals, and Danaher 3.2, which was really good to see from the big fella. And what I disliked was it was just boring. It was a boring game. Richmond are basically, as I said, the new West Coast Eagles. They got a ravaged injury list. I just don't know what's going to go on with Adamuze. I mean, he's basically just picked up a squad that is basically the Titanic right now. It's a sinking ship. Who was going to get off? I don't know. Frioli's going to go to the Suns, or Martin's going to go to the Suns, or I don't even know. But it's just, you got a fair few older players that are probably going to be retiring at the end of this season. So you got no capital to trade at the trade table, really, except for Rioli, maybe Shea Bolton, I should say, or Nankervis, but who knows? I think Nankervis will stay, but yeah, Baker's probably going to go to WA. Yeah, anyway, it's going to be a bit of a mess at the moment for Adamuze, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen. All I know is that a lot of Tigers players are going to be retiring or perhaps moving to the Suns or Western Australia. The next game was the Swans versus the Blues, 117 to 65. Heaney, 125 AFL Fantasy, Rowbottom, 123, and Warner, 117. And for the Blues, it was Newman, 118. Kennedy 97 and Mackay 97 as well. What I liked about it was the Swans dash with Warner. He kicked 3 goals too. And for James Jordan, he locked down Walsh as a bit of a tagger role. Him and sort of, I think it was Rowbottom, like basically mixed between each other. And yeah, Walsh was really quiet for the night. So that was really good to see for the Swans. What I disliked was Wiedering is just soft as butter. Yeah, I've got him in my AFL Fantasy, so maybe I'm being a little bit rough on him, but I'm definitely going to be trading him out this week. That corky to the leg and then just not getting enough game time has basically made my decision a lot easier on him. But yeah, it's just unfortunate for the Blues. And having seen the game with Curnow going back, that tends to happen when Wiedering's out. It just puts a lot more pressure on Curnow, and he's better used up forward anyway. TDK went MIA. Missing in action, got like 6 touches for the Blues, so definitely something not right there. But yeah, overall, Swans just dominated this game. After the first quarter, it was just a one-way sort of street, and Mackay missed a goal that was so easy. Like, it was probably 10-15 meters out, and he sprayed it. So that, to me, derailed their momentum straight away, and it just fell straight to the Swans' hands. The next game was Suns versus the Cats. This one was at Darwin, actually. Yeah, it was at Darwin, 164 to 100 points. You got Anderson 142, Rao 132, and Sexton 126. Absolutely killed it in AFL Fantasy. And for the Cats, it was Holmes 106, Myers 105, and Toby Conway, the rookie ruck, got 94, so he did really well. What I liked was Bailey Humphries for the Suns, kicked 5 goals, 1. Anderson for the Suns got 42 touches and 2 goals, 1. And Graham Myers kicked 2 goals and 29 touches. What I disliked was Tui and Blitzarves missing in action. Very quiet for the night. Gary Ron kicked 1 goal. Very quiet for the night. Stewart, 21 touches down the back for the Geelong Cats. And Tanner Bruin, 11 touches, 1 goal. So big things to work on for the Cats and for Chris Scott. But that rounds up the round 10. What do you guys reckon? What was your favorite game? Comment down below, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.